Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Today we're talking about a bit of a touchy subject in my opinion, which is video creation for equity crowdfunding campaigns and kind of some of the best practices there, as well as some of my own thoughts and what other people as well will tell you about creating a video. So I'm gonna go through a few different observations that I have in terms of marketer. We're gonna get in some tactical tips and advice for you coming up right after this. So why is this a touchy subject? The reason why I think this is a touchy subject in general is that you have so many different types of disciplines that are involved in startups and equity crowdfunding and securities and like all that kind of stuff, finance, etc. So you have many different types of people. For example, you have engineers, you have finance people, you have marketers, you have salespeople, then you have ordinary, everyday Americans and citizens who can invest in equity crowdfunding campaigns. And everyone has a different way of thinking, and everyone has different best practices. So for example, if you talk to more of like, I would say like a bread and butter kind of startup person, they're usually not as big on marketing in my experience. They're usually a little bit more talking about engineering and technology, and they're like, you don't need to have a big fancy video, just make a video and talk to the camera and let it speak for itself, right? But then you have other people who are like finance people, like just include the numbers and make sure you don't include too much emotional, flavorful stuff, keep it really strict and business minded and make sure that it looks like a business plan, right? And they're very on the logical side of the equation. And then you have people that are more like marketers and flavorful like salespeople like me. And I'm like, dude, everyone, whether you're an investor or not, you have emotions. And if I can tick your emotions, I can get your attention, right? And I can, if I cause these emotional responses, cause you to feel like you're missing out or feel like a sense of urgency. And that's really where I come, I'm more of a marketer, right? Where I view the world through the lens of emotions first, logic second. And logic has to be there to make a good decision, but emotions are what cause someone to even consider making that decision. So you have, and I rely on psychology, obviously. So you have different people out there. So for example, if you go and you talk and you look at some of these platforms, some of them will recommend for you to just have a very bare bones video, talking to the camera, tell the story, tell what's happening, and that can work for some people. Right? That can particularly work if you have a really good accolades and you already have great credibility and content and you've already had previous successes and like it's going really well for you. People are going to listen to you regardless. A good way to think of this is like if Elon Musk, right, we'll just say uploaded an iPhone video talking about this new company he's launching, he's going to get investment really easy regardless of the quality of the video because of who he is, right? It's not obviously always about just quality of video. Same thing goes for like other really big, like if Jeff Bezos, says he's launching a new thing and he allowed anyone to invest in that, just because he's Jeff Bezos, people are going to be interested in that. But then there's also sort of a gray area, which is what if you're not so noteworthy, or what if you need a little bit more hand-holding when it comes to people trying to get their attention, then we rely a little bit more on marketing, right? So then it comes into things like, okay, how are people feeling when they're watching the video? What are the main takeaways? What are the colors you're using, the transitions, the audio, the music, the angles? How do you have a professional feel? Does this person come away from the video feeling like this is actually really freaking cool? These guys know what they're doing, right? Just from the video itself and the video quality. So I'm more on the side of that, on the second side. However, I do think that, and I think it's important to say, you can get away with a very bare bones video. That being said, who knows how long that is going to last? Historically, with other platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, other platforms like Facebook, social media, they start with really basic videos, right? But over time, the caliber, the bar just keeps getting raised and raised and raised. You'll notice a lot of the ads on Facebook now literally look like TV commercials, right? So the bar keeps getting raised. I'd rather push you into the side or the angle of being along with the trend versus being against the trend, right? It's harder if you're against the trend. It's easier if you're already going along with the trend. So I'd rather push you in that way. So just a first quick preface. So I want to get into some of the advice specifically that I have for you when it comes to making your equity crowdfunding video. We'll talk about the process. We'll talk about the tactics and the tips. Let's get into it right now. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfill Right today. Link in the description. Okay, so first of all, video creation is a process. It goes through iterations. It goes through editing. It goes through different stages of development, right? And when it comes to that, usually it's going to start with some kind of a plan. So you want to start with the plan, which to me is usually the script. Now you could be thinking about the storyboard maybe as the plan. Depends on the type of thinker you are. I'm more in the way of starting with the script. And by the script, I mean what is actually being said on the video and who is saying it. If you think of like a play, right? If you're trying to, for example, get a bunch of people to reenact a play every single night for a year and with minimal mistakes, how do you do that? You get them to memorize the script. And it doesn't seem necessarily like it's memorized. Like there's intonation, there's ways of saying it, there's different body language techniques that they're using, right? To convey certainty or, oh my gosh, like I'm so scared, right? In the scene or whatever. So people rely on a script. However, they kind of have their own little bit of flavor every time that play is being produced. So if you want to have, for example, that kind of effect with your video, all you got to do is write a script. Write a script in terms of what the founder is saying throughout the video, the different sections where other people are mentioning things or saying things, the roles of that. And then you can look at the script, you can pass it around and be like, have we hit all of the major points here? Have we not, right? Once you go through that process, then it's like, okay, we're then going to start to film. We're going to start to find a videographer near me who can help me to film that style of video. Now, before we get to that, the other thing I would mention within the foundational element would be, let's go back to the play example, right? So when you're writing a play or you're writing a movie or something like that, you're going to have what's being said. You're also going to have what's happening in a particular scene. So like this person picks up a glass or a wine glass and drops it, and like there's just this horrible fight in the soap opera scene, right? Or this person storms off the screen and takes off their tie and throws it somewhere, right? You have what's happening in the play as well. So you can also do that with your script. You can have what is appearing on the screen or what is being done if it's a really important thing. For example, a visual is appearing on the screen illustrating something that you're talking about, or there's a certain B-roll of some kind when you talk about my product and how it does this. Maybe there's a B-roll showing the product, let's just say it's like a robotic arm, zooming in or moving around the robotic arm as you're talking about it. So you have like the first surface level script, which is what's being said verbally, and then you have what's actually happening within that script. B-roll could be different things that are appearing on the screen, could be what you're doing, maybe you're making a gesture. If it's something that you really want to write into the script, you can also do those things. Once you have done that, then you're going to kind of deliver this to the videographer. You might be working on refinements, or you might be even working with the videographer or marketer like myself to help you with the script. But once you get the videographer, then it's like, okay, how do we then get these shots, right? Because with a movie or with a play, or a movie is a better example, obviously, because it has a camera. With a movie, like you're thinking about where are we going to be getting these scenes? Where are we going to be getting these shots? What's going to be needed? Are there props, for example, that are going to be needed here? So you're going to be thinking about that with the videographer. You'd be like, okay, we're going to film this here in this kitchen. We're going to be filming it outside by this thing, or this shot is going to go here. And you're going to have a shot list, it's called. A shot list where you write down like all the different environments of where you're going to start to film this video. You're going to be working with the videographer on that. You're going to get the recording, the raw recording, ideally with good lighting, with good audio quality, you talking to the video, maybe another angle on your side of your face or something like that, transposing, coming, or it could be even moving if you wanted to, have like a gimbal or something. There's a lot of stuff you can do. It depends on the amount you can invest in a good video, honestly. So you're going to have all that stuff going on. And then once you get the raw content, the raw video footage, then it comes the next process, which is the editing process, okay? So again, this is like a painting. You have your canvas, you're sketching on some stuff, then you're painting initially maybe with some colors, then you're painting even more to give some gradients and different shadows and like that kind of stuff, defining the painting a little bit more. And eventually, after a lot of layers, you then have the painting that you see in a museum, right? Or you see in your house. You're like, that's a really beautiful painting. Like that's great. And that takes time and layers. So after the raw filming process, you have all this raw footage, you then have an editor who may be the videographer, maybe not, who then puts together basically and assembles all this stuff to your specifications, and maybe also has some of their own creative flair when it comes to the transitions or the cadence of the video or the audio, the music, for example, the color grading of the actual film. Most films nowadays are color graded in the same way they are with movies. So it might have a warmer or a colder tone of some kind to create an emotional impression. So there's a lot of different things that go into the editing, right? And then after that, you're basically gonna have your version 1 finished of the film, of the pitch video, and you can look at that and you'd be like, I like it, or need to make a few more refinements, might go through one more editing process, and then you pretty much got the thing. So that's, to me, the way the process looks. It's gonna vary from person to person. Like I said, some people might prefer more of like a storyboarding method, or some people might decide they want to do a different way or different format when it comes to the shot list or whatever, right? But that's in general, like what you might think of the process as being. Another part within that process might be photography. So a lot of the times, if this is your first time getting a video done, a professional video done as a company, you might also use this as an opportunity to get some great photos of the team when they're in the workplace environment, or to include that on the campaign page, or some great photos for marketing and general purposes, right? As you're already getting these videos done. So you might also have some other elements there that's included with that. So that being said, I want to go through just a few checklist items that you can go through when it comes to the equity crowdfunding video and some of the stuff that I see there. So with the video, if I were you, like I would really think about the checklist, because checklist to me is like quality control and just making sure that you're hitting all the major things that you need to. In terms of the checklist, I would think about, first of all, the technicality checklist. So like, are you getting at least 1080p? Are you getting really good video lighting? Are you getting good audio? Do you have a few different angles? Do you have B-roll that you're going to be incorporating in the video? Do you have music that you're going to be incorporating? Do you have smooth transitions? Do you have some visual effects? Those are some of the things I'd probably include on the checklist. As you, as the person who's like looking at the video, like, is this a good quality video? Then you have other checklist items, for example, what is being said in the video? And that's really, to me, like the formula or the format for what information does someone need in order to make an investment decision. So that might be things like talking about the target market size, the problem, the accolades that you have, the social proof going through the campaign, the way that the market's growing, your solution, how it's unique, the technology, and finally, you know, the founders and like the backstory there. But also, it's the CTA, making sure you have some kind of a CTA. And CTA in marketing terms stands for call to action. What are you asking people to do? Don't shy away from it. Tell them what you want them to do, right? You need to make sure that after someone watches that video, they know what to do next. So those are some of the checklists, I'd say, technical side. Checklist, I'd say, with verbal side, like what you want to cover. And then, you know, the final thing I would say, just as you're going and as you're looking through the video, how do you feel emotionally? Do you feel like it's maintaining your attention? Are there any sections in the video that just kind of a little bit boring, or like you're just not kind of tuned out a little bit, right? Do you need to maybe transpose on some B-roll footage, or do you need to spice it up a little bit in order to maintain attention? That's the name of the game. The hard part is not getting attention. Getting attention is actually really easy, in my opinion. It is so easy to just get lots of traffic on a page. Like it's very simple. But maintaining attention and converting attention into an investor or a customer, that's where we earn our keep as a marketer. That's really where the secret sauce is getting people to take action. And in my opinion, that all has to do with sustained attention, curiosity, interest, having questions answered that are in their head. They're going to go through a critical thinking stage where they're like, is this a good investment or not? And making sure they come through that stage with the answer that you want, which is yes. So those are just some of the things that I would include on your equity crowdfunding campaign video and some of my thoughts when it comes to that. I hope that this was helpful for you. If there's something that I didn't cover, you can feel free to leave a comment down below and I maybe will address it in a future video. My name is Salvador Briggman. You want to check me out more, you can go to my website, crowdcrux.com. I also have a great course out there, free course on equity crowdfunding. I have some other stuff out there that I'll link up in the description down below, but I mainly put out these videos to share some of my teachings, to share some of the things that I noticed, and just hopefully help more people out there. So you know, we do have a good, thriving crowdfunding ecosystem where people are launching great projects, people are excited, investors are being rewarded, and that's really just the kind of future that I would love to see. So thank you for listening, appreciate it so much, and I'll see you next time.